My name is Rachel Elizabeth Muehlenberg. I was born and raised in Port Alberni, currently reside in Ucluelet, and I own and operate my own whale watching company. We get a huge swarm of international travelers to Ucluelet, yes. It's becoming a tourist destination. Ucluelet, which is on the west coast of British Columbia, is just a small, hardworking community, very nature-oriented people, a lot of awesome people, a couple kooky people, generally awesome people. The majority of the people that reside there are there for environmental purposes, and that can be like they're there to surf, they're there to fish. My purpose is I drive a whale watching outfit boat. The thing I enjoy most about doing whale watching in general is just being outside and being on the ocean. I think what was the main driving factor for me from being an 18-year-old snubbing the idea of employment and having to, work any Joe Blow job was the fact that all the jobs that were offered on land weren't for me. How I started out just this complete, naive, just loved boating person to the entrepreneur side of things is very gradual. I was 19. I heard all the stories. Everyone's like, is she even old enough to drive a car? And she even out of high school yet and stuff. So I heard all the jokes for a while, and I just took to the water and hit on the boat and spent all my time off the dock. So for me, it was more, they were just teasing, but everyone was very respectful of me coming into the industry. At first, felt that everyone was very apprehensive of what was going on with the company I was working for and why they would trust someone of such a young age and like a young female. But then after they kept seeing that I kept returning, people were like, okay, so we should probably get to know her because she's sticking around for a while, so yeah. It was really cool. They would give me all these pointers about like tricks about navigating through the fog and like different reefs and stuff that are more prosperous than others at different times. And I just had already the general interest in the ocean from childhood days. And yeah, so I got all my boat tickets together in a compacted course that only was a week long, and then I was working immediately out the gates, and that summer literally changed the course of my life. The people that come on my whale watching tours are from around the world. So these people, when they come out here, they're just mind blown. I can see it. I can feel it with their experience on the water and just the way that they look at each other on the water, and they're seeing animals they've only read about. And they see a pod or a group of dolphins or like hundreds of sea lions. It's just mind blowing. And then to top it off, the geography of the location that I'm doing my tours in is just, it's world renowned for its beauty and its ruggedness, I guess. Now, just 6 years later, I own my own thing and I get to do whatever I want, which is really nice. But yeah, so the progression was slow, but every season was huge learning curves to where I am now.
Oh, we're just about to go there.
Okay, well, let's go there then, and let's get you there.
It's just around the point of this island, and it's just like...
It's crazy that even in my line of work, where I'm only out for up to 3 hours on a trip, that I have been caught in bad weather in that amount of time. And it can be very terrifying. And other days it's great and it's an awesome job, but when it's bad and it's stormy or you get stuck in something or something happens to the boat, that's when all those tickets and that's when all that knowledge comes into play. And now it's just automatic. It's just what I do. It's just a morning ritual now. When I have days on the water, I'm watching all the weather forecasts, and I'm making sure that I'm not making any poor judgment calls. I have this place on lockdown, where to go if I need to hide or where not to go if the waves are a certain condition. But that is just part of being a responsible skipper, and mitigating any sort of harm to clients or even just friends or anyone that's on my boat. Been recognizing I'm having a growing interest in learning about First Nations communities around all of British Columbia, the different coastal communities that were here and their different traditions and different means of getting resources and stuff is just fascinating. You know, the more you learn about it, the more you can't deny that they were incredible, talented people. They had this area on absolute lockdown. They knew everything about the tides. They knew everything about the seasons. The fundamental respect that they had for nature is just, it's so inspiring. Scariest day started out not my scariest day, and we went out and the water was big, but it was not something I couldn't handle, and my linkage and my throttle just jammed on me and I limped my way home. But on the way in, the father of the daughter and his wife looks at me, he's just like, oh, this is what happens when females drive boats. And I was like, whew, your daughter is here. I just was professional, and I was, you know, I kind of fake smiled at him, and we got back to the dock, and I was very offended later on. As the linkage was getting fixed, I was able to push the family of 3 back to the following trip. I ended up going out, and between that morning trip and the afternoon trip, I swear the weather had tripled in size. I knew it was growing, but I didn't expect it to grow that substantially that quick. And I see a weather system coming in at like a pace I'd never seen before, and I was like, that's gonna be here in 20 minutes.
Love how gnarly your controls are.
This weather came pummeling in from the southeast, and I got caught very close to shore. And then all of a sudden I look at the channel to get home, and it is huge and like breaking swell, and I had never been in anything so big at that point. And I was taking waves broadside, and it was very scary to get out of this scenario. I kept my cool. I had to get home. That's just what it was, you know. And I had my guests be like, honestly, we felt so safe. You handled it so well. And then the dad, the infamous dad who belittled me before he had any idea what he was dealing with, comes to me and he's like, so is that normal? You deal with that? And I was like, oh yeah, all the time. Straight face, big smile. Like, oh yeah, it's, you know, every other Wednesday. My knees are trembling. Like, I kid you not, I never felt that. Just trembling in my survival suit. And he's like, okay. And he just walked away, and I was like, this one, I just showed you. So good. And I'll never forget that. I hold that one real dear.
All right, folks, let's go try and find these black and whites. So you guys, I'll just give you like the normal fair spiel.
My one piece of advice for young women looking to start a world on the water for themselves or get into an entrepreneurial decision is that just do it. Just do it and don't give up, and keep your really good friends close, because you'll be forever grateful when they pick you up when you're, you know, on the ground crying your eyes out, because, you know, not everyone is cut out for work like this, but if you have that drive and you can feel it, you just don't stop. You just have to keep working.